Appreciate you all being here. I got to tell you, though, I wish I didn't have to compel you all to be here. We asked you as legislative liaisons to come participate with us, in which you refused. So the Committee on Oversight will come to order, and without objection, the Chair is authorized to declare a recess at any time. We have a couple goals for the hearing in our investigation and our need to do our constitutional duty. One, the FBI needs to produce its full investigative file to the United States Congress. And I mean the full file, not just the parts the FBI deemed relevant. Right now we only have the 302s handpicked by the FBI. We decide what's relevant, not the Department of Justice, not the FBI. We're entitled to the full file. Two, all unclassified portions of the file should be released to the public as quickly as possible. It has been more than 20 days since I'm sure the very first FOIA request was put out there, and by law that should be out there. I want to commend the FBI for already releasing its investigative summary report and Secretary Clinton's 302 interview summary to the public. We do appreciate that, and it's duly noted. But there are still a number of 302s left for the FBI to release. We were surprised to learn that the 302s, the so-called investigative files provided to the United States Congress, at least to the security officer, were only a portion of them, not all of them. And three, all members of Congress should be able to review the entire file. Right now, unless you're part of the Intel Committee, Oversight Committee, the Judiciary Committee, and the Appropriations Committee, these are if you're a member, you have to be on those committees in order to view what is currently in the SCIF. It's unclear to me how the FBI can prevent a member of Congress from seeing what we're already allowed to see by law, yet here they have done so. Even the unclassified information, that's what's mystifying to me. Even the unclassified information you're preventing members of Congress from seeing. But we do believe we should be able to see the file and the whole file. And it's disappointing that we are here today. We have a number of questions about the redactions, the classifications. I thought a number of those things would best be answered in a briefing. You know, Elijah Cummings, the ranking member here, has made a point on several occasions that rather than just going right into a hearing, let's go to a briefing. We had legitimate questions. We did have this plan for last week. We did have more than 12 members of the Congress show up to have that briefing, and none of you showed up. That's inexcusable. You're the congressional affairs officers. It's your job to talk to Congress. And for some of you, I had to threaten to send a subpoena just to get you to appear today. We did some math. We got 70 of you sitting here. Between your compensation and your benefits package, you make more than $1 million from taxpayers. Taxpayers are paying you more than $1 million. And you won't even come talk to Congress. What do you do all day if you don't talk to Congress? That's your job. So we're going to do that today. And the irony here is we're trying to protect the classified information. I didn't create this mess. Hillary Clinton created this mess. There are years of federal records. Some of it's so classified, none of us in this room should probably see them. Most of it's unclassified. But we have a duty and an obligation to protect that information. I believe that's probably the same goal that you have. But we're going to have a reality check here. She's the one that took the records from the State Department, gave access to people who don't have security clearances. The case is closed. There's no consequences, nobody being held accountable. But we also had an FBI director come and testify that he never looked at her testimony under oath. And somehow we have a classified system and we have a non-classified system, and somehow information was going from the classified system into a non-classified system. So it's ironic that you don't want to appear before this committee out of a concern for protecting classified information when Hillary Clinton walked around with a BlackBerry full of classified information and gave access to sensitive federal records to folks without security clearances at all. I want to understand from each of you what it is you think that Congress should not see. See, I believe passionately in the role of Congress. I believe passionately in the Oversight and Government Reform Committee. We were founded in 1814. Every expenditure, everything we do in this Congress, or everything we do in this nation is supposed to be overseen by us. We can investigate anything at any time. That's what's different about the United States of America. We're different because we are self-critical. We do go look under the hood. We do hold people accountable. That's why when Abraham Lincoln joined the United States Congress, he was on this committee. And he peppered the president because he didn't believe that the Mexican-American War started as the president said it was. And there's been a rich history of that throughout generations. We can't do that when each of the agencies that you all represent decide that, well, we're just going to show you the relevant information. We're not even going to answer your questions. You can't see those documents. That's the way a banana republic acts. It's not the way the United States of America acts. So we expect better, and we expect you to be responsive. And I don't expect to have to issue a subpoena to see unclassified information. Well, we can't be certain what is under each of the first. It does require a vote of the committee.
Mr. Chairman, you?
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, I guess it would have been helpful if you had laid that out from the beginning, because as I said to you up here at the dais and yesterday and on the floor of the House, one of my concerns was that I don't want, I mean,
testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you. Let the record reflect that the witnesses all answered in the affirmative. In order to allow time for discussion, we would appreciate it if you would limit your questions or your comments to 5 minutes. I'm not sure who has an opening statement and who doesn't. We haven't been submitted anything. Mr. Kadzik, do you have any open comments?
No, I do not have an opening statement, Mr. Chairman, but I would note for the record that I was not compelled to be here today. I came here voluntarily.
Let the record reflect that none of them ultimately accepted service in terms of accepting the subpoena. I'm just saying in general, it did require us to get to the point where I signed subpoenas and presented those subpoenas, but all of the witnesses here today ultimately came here voluntarily. And I appreciate you highlighting that.
I'm not sure who those subpoenas were produced to, but they were.
And Mr. Kadzik was not one of those people. Let's be clear here. Yes, Ms. Freifeld.
I don't have a formal opening statement, but I did want to clarify, sir, that I did not refuse to come up. We asked clarifications on what exactly you were looking for because it seemed uncertain to us what you asked the State Department about these documents that were produced by the FBI. So I'm happy to be here and try to answer your questions as best I can.
Mr. Herring.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a few opening remarks to make.
Yes, you're now recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Cummings.
You can move that microphone just straight up right on there. Yeah, there you go. Thanks.
Better. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Cummings, members of the committee, for the opportunity to discuss our production of documents in this highly unusual case with intense public interest. I am Special Agent Jason Herring, the Acting Assistant Director for the FBI's Office of Congressional Affairs. In early July, Director Comey appeared before this committee and answered questions for almost 5 hours to explain the FBI's investigation and conclusions regarding the email matter. At that hearing, and at every opportunity since then, Director Comey has promised that the FBI would be as transparent and forthcoming